What is one experience you think every single human should have? Seeing the stars from somewhere with minimal light pollution. Pictures can't capture it, words fail to express it. I just had this a few weeks ago in the middle of Canyonlands National Park, just me and my sleeping bag looking up at the Milky Way. It was magical. Did you go out to see the eclipse? My brother and I went to Arches about 2 hours before sunrise the day before. Truly incredible. I was actually going to say, seeing a total solar eclipse as something everyone should experience. I saw the one a couple of years ago and had no idea how impactful it would be. It's a far different experience than even like 99.9% total. Ethereal. Loving parents. Changes your entire life. Holy damn guys, I don't give a fuck about the upvotes, but hearing the number of people who don't have this, self included, my dad's an AH, makes me realize how big this problem is. Sending lots of virtual hugs etc. to all, it makes me want to be the best parent possible even more, if I'm lucky enough to have the privilege. Wow, I couldn't agree more. People who had bad or no parents, my heart breaks for them. It's completely unfair for anyone to not know what it's like to have loving parents. I often wonder if these kids grow up and try to be the best parents they can, or they just become shitty adults and repeat the cycle. I'm one of 7 and it's a mixed bag. A couple of us are super devoted, loving parents, one sister that hates children, another sister that teaches sped and fosters, and a couple on drugs and CPS situations. Being profoundly wrong about something important to you, accepting that fact and growing from it positively. It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. Mark Twain. Ugh, Twain said everything and better than I ever will. Such certainty. As a wise man once said, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. Feeling comfortable with themselves. My self-confidence waxes and wanes, but when it's there, damn is it freeing. I like that you acknowledge it waxes and wanes. I'm almost 40 and no matter where I am in life with the big stuff you have downturns and upturns with how much you like yourself. I'll always try to be positive with myself, but logically there's times when I'm happier with who I am as a person than others. Being in transition takes time, and if you're in a transitional phase you have to give yourself some grace. I know it's cliche, but I look at like relationships with my super close friends. There are times when I know they are struggling and I don't judge them for it because I know who they are at heart and they get some time. Either a kid, a pet, or a friend lighting up and making their way over to you on site. Not many things beat that, and I feel terrible for people who don't have it or don't generate that. People used to give me hell when I was younger because I'd give everybody a polite greeting, and if I saw them again I'd always go say hello. Then later, they'd get jealous because I seemed to know everybody in town, but that was just a beneficial side effect of how terrible it seemed to just not be noticed and appreciated. My brother was the guy who was friends with everybody in high school, everybody. Every group of people enjoyed his presence, and at our school there was a huge divide between peer groups. They rarely mingled together, but he could get them to do that. He could get people to see and respect one another, despite their differences. He wasn't part of the popular crowd so to speak, but they respected him and vice versa. They didn't let others treat him poorly because my brother was just too kind for that. He made everyone feel valid and accepted, so those around him went out of their way to make sure he felt the same. It got to the point that he'd have people he barely knew excited to see him and literally run up to him, and he told me that it was one of the best feelings in the world despite not really knowing the person. He was also the type to go out of his way to greet and talk to you, too. Even if he'd only met you once before in passing. If someone's upset, you bet you'd find my brother with them making sure they're okay, even strangers. Especially strangers. Realization that at some point your parents don't have all the answers anymore. As a parent we never did, and it's terrifying. My wife and I freely admit this to our oldest. Literally, dude, this is our first time being parents to a 13-year-old boy. We're winging it here. Please, for the sake of everyone's sanity, work with us. It's netted decent results. I'm so stealing this, thank you. Living alone for at least a few months. I was looking for that answer. Absolutely, everyone should learn to live alone and fend for themselves before they live with someone. 'Cause if you live with parents and then straight move in with a partner, you miss the opportunity to learn a bit about yourself. As someone who has been living alone for the first time in my life in my early 30s, this is what I'll say. It is a double-edged sword. I love having my own space. I love having to answer to no one in my own private domicile, bitch. But everything is on you. It's expensive when you have to cover 100% of all the bills. You have to do 100% of all the cleaning, also no help. Every problem with a renter or whatever, that's on you. Also, if you're used to people being around, it gets lonely at times. I also find that I really don't like having people over. My place is for me and me alone. So if I want to be around people, I just go to where they're at. This might be a bit more of a personal feeling, but people leave messes. Also on you. Travel to a new place that is totally different than where you grew up. Wish this was higher. I think is impossible to a lot of people due to money or politics, but it opens a lot of new experiences, ideas about the world, and different groups of people to be able to visit somewhere new even for just a little while. I think everyone should have to work retail, including working through Christmas. Everyone should work in retail, or hops, at one time in their lives, and go round the back to check for nothing when yelled by a customer for stock. I have done this. Sometimes I went to the bathroom instead because I knew we didn't have it. I'd checked twice already for the last 2 customers asking for the same damn thing anyway. Retail is the worst, and everyone needs to experience it if they're going to use it. Maybe like a licensing system where you have to work a week at Walmart in order to shop there. Working a customer service/restaurant/retail job. Too many assholes have never had to deal with their own kind in that role. Society as a whole would be better for it. I went far too low in the comments to find this. The customer service draft should be a thing. You must work 2 months in customer service in order to work any other job. Then everyone would sound like some sort of veteran. Where'd you do your tour? Me, Applebee's 07-08. Wow, you got it rough, man. I got Macy's during Black Friday but couldn't imagine Applebee's during the Christmas season. Fucking someone who is way out of your league. Boosts your ego and self-confidence into the stratosphere and makes you realize you're capable of anything. And/or having your heart broken. The most human of all experiences and emotions. It makes you question whether love actually exists while simultaneously proving that it unequivocally does. Done both, same person. I hope I won't experience the second part, but I felt so good about myself reading the answers like a checklist because I traveled alone to the person I love to hug, cuddle and have sex with her while she is way out of my league. Can't recommend a long-distance relationship though. It's really expensive to fly from Europe to the US East Coast hop. I think you should grow out your hair and beard at least once in your life just to see yourself with long hair or beard. It's such a small thing, but so many people never experience it. And it's free. Or do the opposite. If you have long hair, then why not go short just to try it? Exactly, I've had long hair all my life. Shaving it all off and looking myself in the mirror was quite an experience. Jesus people, lighten up. Everybody so serious. I think everybody should ride in a hot air balloon. At treetop height, your perspective on life choices begins change. At 250 feet, you begin to breath as life below is caught up in the frenzied day-to-day you lived just 20 minutes ago. Note, the chase vehicle trying to keep up. At 500 feet, the flat earths become the fruitcakes you thought they were. The silence is deafening. Everything is good and decent in the moment, and you wonder how you have never experienced anything like this. Yep, take a ride in a hot air balloon, take your lady hee-hee. Being loved, unconditionally. Unconditional love should be reserved for children and pets. People can and very much should walk away from somebody who treats them poorly. Love is conditional upon bare minimum being treated well, and I feel for anyone who doesn't allow themselves out of shitty relationship scenarios. Living in absolute poverty. Too many people sit back and think them living from paycheck to paycheck in suburbia is the same, but it's not. I'm talking about living in the inner city where these people would check to make sure the doors are locked on their car the moment they hit a red light. I'm talking about food/meals coming from food pantries and alike services, versus someone cosplaying poverty with actual money to afford things. I feel that if more people got to see this firsthand, they would understand the plight of many Americans. It's simple for people who were born and raised in middle class to think the people living in poverty are just doing things incorrectly and that's the cause for the struggle. They don't realize the uphill battle it is to escape it.